Oh man,
Oh,
poor Lindsay Lohan.
oh no.
Poor Lindsay Lohan.
That's the only way I'm going to be able to watch Mean Girls now, as a sad commentary on Lindsay
Mean
Lohan's
Girls
career.
is such a good film.
Well, we are no strangers to it in our group of friends.
It's true.
It is
How many
viewed
times have I seen Mean Girls now?
too often is the answer to that. Once is the amount of times you should see Mean Girls. I know so many people who would disagree with that statement. That makes me sad.
I also get Mean Girls confused with Easy A lot in my
I
head.
didn't see that, but it
That's a
did seem
great
like it
movie.
was on a similar
It's
tone.
very similar in terms of like tone and the way it's shot. It's a good movie.
Yeah, might have to check that out.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised.
So, this is the Just Interesting podcast.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
Isaac,
I'm James.
and we are not Mean Girls.
No, I've
We
totally
are-
derailed
we are
everything
two
already.
very white, kind of boring men who are here to talk to you about video games and other random topics, such as Mean Girls.
I was.
You just fell from space, dude.
I did just
You
fall
just
from
fell
space.
from space.
I was trying to come up with a segue or something. I got nothing.
Segues. Little things
Master
that
Chief.
ball
How many
cops
times
are
has
on.
Master Chief fallen, like, a ridiculous distance,
And
just
survived?
been and just been fine?
Just
like
been
not only
fine.
survived, but been
Well,
like, what
once
cool.
here, and that's in Halo 4 when he
He's-
falls.
he survives-
Halo 3's opening.
Literally in the first game, he survives the dropship going down.
Yeah,
right?
we talked about this on the first episode.
We
I
did.
think.
Everybody else dies but him. and
Everyone
he's
else dies
fine.
but him, right?
So Halo 2, he survives a pelican crashing, where not everybody else
Well,
dies,
and
but
the bomb, the space bomb,
and space bomb,
bomb from space,
bomb from space.
right?
And then does he fall to the planet? No, he falls
No,
onto another ship,
He
right?
Okay, right.
It's
right.
Miranda Keys. What's her ship?
Yeah, the Forward Unto Dawn, which is what you just started in.
That is the Fort Notre Dame?
No, yes, I think.
No, because the
No, because the
Fort
Forward Unto Dawn like follows.
that's
shit.
the ship that finds him in this one, right?
That's the one that blows up in High Charity, or
No, see, that's hers.
see,
that's
this is
what
us just making
Oh,
a mess
man.
of the whole plot.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my word.
Shit.
It's okay.
Why can I not place this? I keep wanting to say Pillar of Autumn, and clearly that's not right.
I don't know the name of the ship because it was the
Something
same
about bravery,
style ship.
something about courage, something about a good virtue. That,
Something about the Halo naming system.
Space.
It's like biblical themes and
Yeah.
all kinds
a
of
lot of
just
music, Bible,
random,
and Judaism references.
random personality traits just associated as names of things.
Yeah.
So we talked about Halo a lot last week, so
We did.
We're gonna kind of
No, we'll get away from that.
Going on to other space things, Star Wars.
Star
and
Wars.
The Star War, as it were.
The Star
the Star
War.
War. Well, it's the Chronicles of the Star War.
Wait. Wait a minute.
Did you never actually think about the title?
Isaac, I'm ashamed of myself right now.
It's okay, James. There are
Wait a
many wars in the Star Wars, but
Wait, but what? How is? But it's all just the one big war. No, that's not true. Actually, I know
no,
better.
it's plural.
Because they got the Republic, and then the
I mean,
Republic's gone.
it's always
and then
the
it's
Sith versus
the
the Jedi.
dictatorship? The Empire.
The
That's
Empire,
what I'm thinking of.
right? So,
Someone is holding their head in their hands right now.
starting the news segment off with that, we got trailer 3.
Trailer 3,
For,
which for me was trailer number 1.
It was
because I
trailer
hadn't
number
seen
1 because
anything.
you have a strong soul and are not as connected to Star Wars as I am.
It's true. That's most of it.
Yeah, because I'm just a trailer whore.
I know.
I'll watch
Hey,
everything
I'm
that
weak too,
comes
man.
out.
But that was one of those things where I was like, I'm sure I'll appreciate it more if I see it. When it comes out. But then
Right.
I saw that a new trailer was out, and people were saying, no, there's a ton of detail in this one. I was like, all right, I'll give it a watch. I was pretty impressed, man. It looks pretty sweet.
It looks so good, and I love spaceships. I love everything to do with spaceships. You are driving through the remnants of spaceships right now.
I am.
But I love everything to do with that, and there's so much good spaceship porn just in the in all the trailers, and in the latest one we get all kinds of little X-wing dogfights.
I know. I was kind of
shots of stuff.
excited to see that because I don't know why, but for some reason the whole time leading up to this movie, for some reason I've just had it in my head that it's going to look and feel like the first 3, like episode 1 through 3.
Yeah, I mean that's what everyone's kind of scared of.
Right, but clearly from that trailer, it's not. Like, even if that trailer is the best parts of that movie, it's gonna be nothing like.
Yeah, you can get the tone and kind of the feeling of it away.
Even just the quality of the shots.
Mm-hmm.
There's not as much like, oh, we gotta fit a million things into this shot or that shot. They're just like, no, we're going for cool visuals, symbols and ideas that people are familiar with, and then we're layering on new ideas onto those things.
And to be honest, it was very much reminiscent of the Star Trek trailer when that had a reboot, in terms of like everyone was like, look how pretty this is.
Man, I guess you're right.
I mean, there was some JJ flair in there, some good old lens flare.
Yeah.
Which I know everyone is criticizing. I think lens flare is fine. I really don't care much about it.
It's never bothered me, but I think that's because it's a real thing.
It is.
So
it's an
I always think of it.
It's
I'm
an
just
actual
like,
thing that you look at lights, they make you blind. Look at that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Lens flare.
When you're dealing,
flare.
when like with Star Trek, yes, it was ridiculous in the on the deck, the crew. Why can't I think of? It's not cockpit.
The Enterprise?
The bridge.
The bridge.
It was ridiculous, like on the ship with all the lights everywhere. Because you're running around in like bleached white business.
Honestly, I only saw the first movie of the reboot of Star Trek.
Right, which is good for you.
Was it?
Good for you. Just keep it that way.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to diss the second one too much because it was an enjoyable watch, but it did not do the same thing as the first one.
If you weren't into it as much, then I definitely won't be into it as much, because
I
don't care that much about the source material.
Pretend that things.
Because that was a good movie.
It was.
I like that.
Right, and
lot.
in the same vein, the Star Wars, it's striking some similar notes with me.
Yes.
In terms of the visuals and everything. And like I said, with the spaceships and me loving the spaceships, JJ did that really well in the first Star Trek movie, and even the second one, in terms of like how they looked, how they performed, and just the nice, pretty shots of them. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Seeing all the X-wing business, fighting and the dog
it looked
fights,
cool. I like that the TIE fighters sounded like.
Oh, the sound was on point.
What is that scream? There's like a sample they use. It's not the Wilhelm scream.
You're talking about the TIE fighter.
Yeah,
sound.
maybe it is the Wilhelm scream, but it's like stretched. If you know what I mean, it's like a time stretched.
Oh, really?
Vocal effect. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah,
because I know that sound, and I had never realized before that that's what it was.
Oh.
But they had the same sound in the trailer, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah, they've kept that
neat.
iconic.
They sound the same
noise, which is apparently the ion engines that those things run on.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I'm glad you know this, because
I'm again spaceship nerd. I could tell you too many things. Many things, James.
No, but I'm honestly excited now for Star Wars, and I didn't think that was going to happen. I figured I really wasn't going to care until I finally went to see it, but I'm honestly interested now.
Yeah,
I probably won't see it on the first day, but
yeah, I've got apparently a ticket purchased for me, which I have to then pay back. But that's legit. I'm going to go see it with my wife's siblings.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're all hyped, and they're like, "You got to dress up in a costume." I'm like, "I will show up in a black bathrobe and a plastic crappy lightsaber."
Yes,
that will be what I will do.
Yes,
but it looks like it's going to be some good times, and I'm sure we will talk about it.
Definitely.
After that comes out and we see that biz. So that's going to be quite a payday for Disney.
Man.
So that is also my attempt at a segue to a topic you wanted to discuss.
Not bad, man. we're getting our chops.
Our
I don't know if that's the
chops.
thing that people say. Getting chops.
Them podcast chops, man.
You just have chops or you don't. I don't know how that works.
But you have to grow them in some cases.
Anyways, not important. So, yeah, the Payday 2, I was just hearing on another podcast called Funhouse. They were talking about, apparently there's a new introduction where you basically pay, like, I think it was $250 to buy a drill, and then safes are going to drop in-game. And then you're going to be able to get a chance at a rare or limited weapon when you open those safes. Apparently this is similar to Counter-Strike Go. Again, I have not played CSGO. I played 1.6 and I played Source.
Sounds a bit like gambling to me, James.
It does.
It sounds like a risky waste of your money.
Listen.
That's how I would interpret it.
I don't know how I feel about it. I'm interested to see how it plays out. I think that some of Payday works and some doesn't for me.
Well, the only way it ever worked for me was playing with guys who were like the only reason I bought the game was friends of ours were very hype.
Yes.
And so into the game. They're just like, yeah, let's play this. And I don't play enough multiplayer games with my friends, so I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And it was fun.
I'm the same way, yeah.
I've never been into stealth games really at all. The closest I got was Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and that even doesn't have as many elements of stealth as it does. You're a pirate, yar, go around, blow up with the cannons, yar ha har.
Man, how good is that game, dude? I did not play that game until maybe 6 months ago for the very first time, and I was blown away at how good it was. I found out, though, that apparently it was developed as a pirate-type game before it became an Assassin's Creed game.
Oh, I did not know that. It would make sense, though, because the DNA of the game feels vastly different from the other titles, because I hated Assassin's Creed until I came across that title. My buddy had it, and I played it for a little bit. I'm like, okay, I will go out and buy this.
It's so good, man.
I mean, I want to romp around the oceans.
I played the original Assassin's Creed fairly soon after it came out. It was one of the reasons I bought a 360 to begin with.
Oh, wow, okay.
So it was a big deal for me when that game was out. But as the games went on, they kind of started beating some things to death a little bit, where, like, I don't know, it just felt like the same thing over and over again. I wasn't really into the actual story of the game, like the late story with Desmond and all that.
Yeah, the hey, this is like a Matrix type of thing.
And I didn't think it was bad. I just
didn't
like it as much. And I kept waiting for, when am I going to get to be Desmond in the future and do all these things now, which I guess has happened now.
Yeah,
I haven't played far enough.
His storyline apparently came to a whole halt or whatever that was. It ended.
Okay.
As far as I'm aware. And actually, interestingly enough, I saw an article today, the latest one, the one set in London,
which looks cool,
is reviews are already they're starting to come in, and it's not Unity, because Unity was the god awful one that was in Paris.
Okay.
I haven't played any of these. I'm just going off of the news that I keep seeing about.
Yeah, I didn't play Unity. I just remember when they had a lot of technical
problems. What was it that just came out? It's not Unity.
Not Brotherhood, because that was an older one.
That's an older one. Yes.
Syndicate? No. What was it?
Wow, we're bad at this.
No,
it's the one that just came out.
It's about gangs.
It's about the gangs. It's steampunk London. It's got a name that I'm going to look up right now because
a smattering.
A smattering. Assassin's Creed. No, it is Syndicate.
Tea Time Murder Fest.
It is Syndicate.
Is it really?
Yeah, you were right.
No way.
Yeah. But yeah, I was reading some articles, and they're basically saying that it's actually, the series is finally departing from some of the things that were causing it issues. I don't know what those things are, because like I said, the only one I played thoroughly at all out of the series was Black Flag. But there are, I could see, when you pump out that many games that often.
Yeah.
And
it's not that they're bad games, they just tend to be
changes.
Derivative. Yeah,
they haven't made that many changes from one to the other in terms of some of whatever the core issues are. And what the reviews are generally saying seem to be, hey, they're starting to actually fix this, and this game is a good game because of that.
That's awesome,
but
man.
When
I'm really glad to hear
one of your best... See, here's the thing, though. When one of your best selling points is they're fixing the stuff that's been a problem, that's not a strong selling point.
It doesn't sound like it, but the thing is, Assassin's Creed has such a great core mechanic to it, which is basically you sneak around, you sneak up on people, and you pop out a knife out of your wrist and assassinate them, which you don't have to dress up a lot to make a good game out of that. And that's why the first game works so well.
Stabs. The game is basically Sneaky Stabs, the game.
Yeah, exactly. The first game, the parts where it got weak is where they got away from that, and they had you doing a lot of basically detective work, and you do like, all right, 2 eavesdrops, 2... save this guy, 2 of something else, and they were like, cool, I did all my research, now I get to actually do the mission. All the missions in that game were amazing, but if it had basically just been those missions strung together, I thought it would have been a way stronger game.
Okay, so it was all the bullcrap they added in around it.
It felt like filler.
Yeah.
In retrospect, it really wasn't that bad, considering the things that came after, because I played maybe 5 hours of Assassin's Creed 3, and was intensely disappointed. I was just so disappointed. It was such a cool idea. I was like, this is awesome. I'm going to be in the Revolutionary War. This is going to be great.
So many people were disappointed in that
game. It just didn't feel fun. I just found myself constantly wishing I was playing a different game.
Yeah, which is something you never want to do.
Yeah.
Like, if that's happening, you're why are you playing the game anymore?
That's why I gave up on Destiny, man.
Oh, you actually play Destiny?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
See, Destiny is something that's constantly in the gaming news.
Yeah.
Especially because the Taken King expansion or whatever that new thing came
Taken
out was.
King,
and,
yeah.
You know,
which I've not played.
Because you and I both love Halo so much, it's Bungie.
Yes.
So
and it plays just like a Halo game.
I did get a chance to actually sit down with my cousin's now fiance once, and he has it on Xbox One, and just let me fool. I've just fooled around for a little bit, and it felt like I was playing a Halo game.
Which is why I got into it, because I had not touched it for a long time. It went on sale, and I got everything up to and including House of Wolves all in one pack, and it was great. I had a really good time with it, but like, I didn't know anybody else to play with online, and so after a while, I was basically just playing a really repetitive Halo game, doing some of the same missions.
You were just grinding, and you weren't having the social experience, which is what the game is built on.
Yeah, it basically felt like I was grinding to get better things, to grind more and get better things, and I was like, I guess if that's what you want to play, this is a great game, but I didn't want to play that.
I keep forgetting you're playing on easy difficulty. You
I am, right? Yeah. Otherwise, I would have been donezo.
You would have been so donezo. And yeah, like Destiny does have, when I was looking into this whole Xbox One thing, my one buddy, the same guy, was like, "Oh man, you can get Destiny and stuff." I'm like, I'm not going to, because I've you who has it, but you play it regularly. And
which is a big part of having a good time with Destiny.
And well, see, the thing is, okay, so there was another. Again, we're just going all over the place. Out of news. Sorry, guys, this is just random topics.
Hey, no worries.
I have WildStar installed on my computer, which was NC Soft came out with their big MMO.
Yeah, you were telling me about this a while ago.
It was good times, and
it's not. Is it a monthly fee?
It went free to play.
Okay.
Actually, just last month, and I still haven't touched it since. And the main reason at this point is, for me, is number one, I've never really just made, I'd say, friends online in games and been like, met them up and played with that group of people. It's not for any lack of anti-socialism. I think it's partially ingrained in my, skull to never trust strangers online.
No, I know what you mean. It's been a very long time, because like years ago, I used to play the original Halo on PC with a group of people online that I'd never met in person, but we all kind of started playing together, and I had a really great time with that. But these days, I've tried to do that a few times, and it just doesn't work for me the same way anymore, because, again, I got a full-time job. It's just not easy.
It's like you need to find a group of people, which I'm sure you can.
But I need to find people in my
guys.
time zone that have similar hours, that are also okay with me bailing a couple nights if I have something else going on.
There was a great Penny Arcade comic on that about Halo.
I
remember a while back, which was like something about adults playing Halo. It's like, "I'm sorry, I gotta go, gotta put the kids to bed," and he's like, "That's okay, man, I gotta go in 5 minutes anyway."
Yeah.
And they're in the middle of a game of Capture the Flag. Yeah. It's a problem that I think is just something that, since you and I didn't get into... You said you got into Halo with a little bit, but I never really did outside of friends I actually knew.
Yeah.
And
which is a very different
the reason
experience.
I played League of Legends so much was because my other two friends really played it a lot.
Yeah.
And that kept
I
me
could not
back.
get into that game, and I've tried a couple times, and I'm sure there's some crucial element to...
I go in and out of phases with it. And
Yeah.
the crucial element for me is playing with Matt and Randy.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for them, the game would drive me to rage punch everything all the time.
Yeah.
Because it is a fun game. There's a reason that it's basically the number one game in the world in terms of
it really
viewership
is.
and players and everything.
Definitely.
And it's a fun game.
Yeah,
but
and I don't think...
It is so very much a game that is all about what I don't normally do. And it's a reason why I'd say another reason why WildStar didn't work for me. I cannot seem to play games for just endlessly play a video game.
Yeah,
and
I'm with you.
Sink so much time into it. There have been the rare occasions. League, I have sunk a lot of time into, but again, most of that was socially. So social, a good point where I'm playing with my friends will make me sink a lot of time into a game.
Yeah.
The only other game that has devoided my life of so much time would be the Mass Effect series, which has just been from doing so many different playthroughs.
Yeah.
I'm sure Fallout 4 has the potential to take a lot of time from me.
See, here's my thing though. When you're doing something like Mass Effect, and I get that it's a single player game, so you do miss out on like playing with other people, but at the same time, the game's got variety to it, which is my big complaint with League. I don't think League is a bad game. I think mechanically it's a very good game. It's just not my kind of game, but my thing with League is, at the end of the day, you're almost playing something more akin to chess than you are
it's like playing a board game over and over and over again.
Yeah, which is also my complaint with Payday 2, because at the end of the day, you're basically doing the same thing. Right? But like you are. Everything follows the same pattern, which is you go in, you try and do a thing. If that thing fails, you go and blast 700 cops, and then try not to die and try and leave. Which gets very old for me very quickly. I need variety.
And for people, obviously, for many, many, many people, the formula works.
Yeah.
And
totally.
And it works. But I am on the same boat as you, where if it wasn't for the variety my friends brought to it,
exactly,
I would not spend time on this. Like, it's and that's how it goes. I probably haven't picked up League in 2 months now. Just because
okay.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like a ridiculous amount of time, but it's been a while, and for like as far as things go, in that regard. So I've always been more of a single player, gamer.
Yeah, I guess I have too.
And the only time that's really stretched the bounds of that is when it has been playing with friends, and occasionally things like Halo and Xbox Live, where I will play random matches, and I enjoy that multiplayer.
I will say that's one of Destiny's strong points, is if you play the Crucible mode, which is basically just competitive Halo multiplayer, it's amazing, and it's really solid.
Oh, that's good. See, I don't in terms of the news about it and what people say about it, no one almost ever seems to talk about that Crucible mode.
I didn't know anything about it until I got the game. I didn't even know it was a feature. I thought the whole game was basically playing that MMO style shooter. Right. And then when I got the game, I was like, oh, what's Crucible? Oh, sweet. And then I played maybe like 2 weeks worth of matches, give or take, and I had a blast with it. But after a certain point, I was like, all right, like this is good, but like, Halo Reach still has players, and it's a good game.
Yeah, you said.
It's a good game. But like, and it's being tweaked all the time and rebalanced and everything, which is nice.
It's going to be one of those things where if I do pick up the one, it'll be something I might try out, but we will see what happens with that. Yeah. So after that was quite a tangent, my friend.
Hey man, it's all good.
It's good times. All this stuff is very interesting. Oh man, I'm plugging the name. I got to stop doing that.
I keep getting confused about what it is, and every time you say very interesting or really interesting, I'm like, yeah, that's the name, and I'm like, wait, something's wrong.
Think of our initials, James. That's how I came up with it.
That's I'm a slow dude.
Otherwise in the news, a game that I was following for somewhere around 6 months or so, maybe longer than that.
Oh yeah,
just came out. I showed you the trailer.
Just showed me, yeah.
Just came out this week. Rebel Galaxy,
which looks sick, dude. It reminds me of Homeworld, which now I look back on Homeworld, it looks so old. But like at the time,
they did come
Homeworld...
out with that remastered version.
Oh really?
You didn't know about the remastered business?
No.
Yeah, there's a remastered Homeworld out there. I think it might be on Steam.
Oh man.
Pretty much is on Steam.
I'm sure Ted's probably told me about this.
Yeah, there's a remastered business out there.
Oh dude, that was another game though that it always looked cool, but whenever I would actually try and play it, it was just too much for me.
That was very much what I would call a Matt game.
Yes.
He was always into those strategy games, and he's played
that dude can devour those games at a rate
insane.
that I just
that
don't
JRPGs,
understand.
I mean, we'll have to get him on talking about those sometime.
Yes. Yeah.
But so Rebel Galaxy, I still have not bought it, mostly because of my time constraints, and I know I want to get it at some point.
Sure, but it's going to be a time sink.
It's going to be a time sink type of and maybe not too much. Like it's mostly Fallout 4 is going to take a lot of my time, and
dude.
but I'm going to pick it up eventually. And I recommend anyone listening to this check out Rebel Galaxy because it's basically
looks so cool.
It's a 2D space. Well, it's from the creator.
It's on a flat plane.
It's on a flat plane.
Yeah.
And what they did, as we were talking about Assassin's Creed earlier, is they basically looked these are the guys who made, I believe, developed Torchlight and Torchlight 2. And we like space, so let's do something with space.
Yeah.
And they also liked the naval combat from Assassin's Creed Black Flag, so they combined it, and what you've essentially got is a romp around a procedurally generated galaxy. Not too huge. I think it's like different solar systems, and the solar systems are all kind of set in terms of certain missions and everything, but the encounters you can have are procedurally generated, and like the locations of different mining fields and stuff are procedurally generated. But you can basically rock around space in a 2D plane, which is nice from the fact when you compare it to things like Elite Dangerous or Star Citizen.
Those games always looked way too intense for me to get into. They look
really
cool, but they look so daunting.
It's like the space sim for the casual gamer.
That's what I need,
or
man.
the more casual gamer.
That's
I don't
what I
want
need.
to offend anyone who loves the game.
No, but yeah.
It really is, and that's one of the things that really interests me in it. And in addition to that, you're in charge of capital ships doing broadside space combat.
So wait, so you got like your big capital ship, and then you've got other ships in your...
No, you've got your ship. You pilot this bigger capital ship.
Okay.
And you fight by using like broadsides, and you've got turrets that you can set AI to control to like shoot at fighters or shoot at incoming missiles. And it's honestly, it looks a lot like, and apparently plays a lot like Black Flag's naval combat, which was excellent and the high point of that game.
I was really amazed by that game.
It's basically that in space.
I never expected that game to be the way it actually was, because I just completely ignored it when I saw it come out, and I was like, whatever, I don't need another Assassin's Creed. And then when I sat down and played it, I was like, oh man, they made like the best pirate game ever.
They really did. It is, out of all the games that I have seen that are pirate games, it is the piratiest.
Anybody that remembers Sid Meier's Pirates is going like, screw you, man.
I never played Sid Meier's Pirates.
It's an acquired taste. It's an older game now, so not.
Yeah, I feel no
not even the same kind of
about saying anything that I just did. I would still probably defend Black Flag.
Black Flag is great, man.
Game. So. Yeah, Rebel Galaxy, and apparently the whole time you're running around, it's like space trucking. There's like acoustic riffs going on, and all this amazing soundtrack music.
I'm so happy about that. I just want more games like Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, and
that's all I want.
With the way the art style is and certain things about the game, you would get almost a Cowboy Bebop style feel from this.
I definitely got that vibe from the trailer.
We will have to both check that out at some point. Like I said, I'll pick it up. I know I'm going to pick it up eventually, and I'll talk more about it then. But yeah, you should check out Rebel Galaxy because it looks like the good times, and it just came out. So, that being said, well, we are sitting right around the 30-minute mark.
Are we really?
We are. We have been. We went off quite the tangent. So there weren't really the sections of like the news and then the overall topic we were going to talk about. We could still talk for a bit.
Oh, hey man, if you want to talk about it, I am totally down.
Well, what we were going to talk about is something Payday was going to kind of segue.
Yeah.
into.
So when we were talking about Payday 2,
did we ever finish talking about Payday 2?
It doesn't matter.
I don't know.
I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
I don't care. You know how much I care about Payday 2?
Well, we know we both don't care too much about
I was
Payday 2.
trying to come up with a quip that would express how little I care, but I don't even care enough to do that. So how's that? How's that for
don't
Payday
care
2 feels?
Enough to even come up with
I shouldn't
to care enough.
I shouldn't crap all over Payday 2.
Well, I mean, it's a decent game, but we both got into it because of friends, and then we stopped playing it because, well, we haven't gotten together and hung out with those friends playing with that game. And we both just ran around in the heavy combat armor with shotguns and went, come at me, bros.
It's true.
And killed so many cops.
It's true. Yeah, so that's what we were going to talk about.
That was going to be our overarching
Payday
topic.
2, man, one of my complaints with even the first Payday is, like, anytime you fight cops, you're not fighting, like, alright, here's, like, a SWAT team of, like, 6, 8, 10 people, and you've got to, like, outmaneuver them. What I expected from those games was a lot like Rainbow Six Vegas, which I don't know if you played those games.
I played a little bit of Rainbow Six.
Man, Rainbow Six Vegas is really good at giving you that feel of like, all right, you're in a space, you got to use cover, you got to outmaneuver people, you got to flank people. It's not a perfect game, but it was really good, and it's a big departure from the older Rainbow Six games, which were sometimes a little too tactical, if that makes any sense. They were a little hard to get into at times because you just, if you were a more casual player, you had a rough time with them. I liked them a lot, but they didn't appeal to everybody. But Vegas kind of made it so if you want to do that high-level play, you can, and if you want to, chill in cover and blind fire and do all that, you totally can. But that's what I expected from Payday. And then when I play Payday, every time the cops get triggered, it turns into horde mode, and you're killing like 600 cops.
Which, in reality, would not
it's
happen
nonsense.
At all. It's absolutely
I get
ridiculous.
it, man. It works in the world of Payday because I get,
You run around in clown masks.
Man,
and...
what I wanted from those games and what I wanted from GTA 5, the online heist mode, was basically I wanted the movie Heat to be a video game. And I'm still waiting.
I think a lot of people wanted that.
I'm still freaking waiting for the movie Heat to be a video game because GTA Heist turned into they're basically just more GTA missions, and you got to invest a ton of money before you can even go into them. And some of them are good, but they're not. No one's delivered on it yet, man. Nothing
no one's
has
giving
that
you the
feel.
heat.
No one's giving me the heat because what you got to have is something that uses more thought than gunplay. Like, you could still shoot or whatever.
It needs to be smart, and shooting waves of cops is not smart.
No, it just turns into a war of attrition. And
it becomes a war game, which it's not supposed to be. The games are supposed to be games about a heist, in which if you even get the cops triggered, you should be done. Like, unless you can pull something out of your ass and just get to the van with the monkey driving, you're done.
So true.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what happens if the cops get called. Not, hey, the cops got called, let's get out.
Now we're going to fight wave after wave after wave.
Now it's going to be Iraq in the height of the war.
Yeah, from a gameplay point of view, it works because...
absolutely.
Yeah, like, it's not a bad game, but it's not the game I wanted or expected, and so I always still, in the back of my mind, keep going like, well, I guess this is okay, but what I really wanted is to be, doing a heist, like a little more Ocean's 11, a little less, So,
no, I agree with you entirely.
I don't know,
and that's why the game fell off for me, because it's like I've played so many shooters, and that's what this is, and it's not all that interesting to me outside of like leveling up and earning the money and the perks,
which is fine. But I feel like those things should all be a means to an end, not the end themselves. And when leveling up becomes the goal, I completely lose interest in anything. This is the reason I get tired of Diablo. It's the reason I got tired of Torchlight.
Getting tired of like I said, WildStar and just MMOs in general. I mean,
you're on that leveling treadmill, which, again, if that's what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I want to be playing a game where my actions carry more weight. So, like, when I screw up, it should be punishing, but when I succeed, it should feel really rewarding and not feel like, well, but it's okay. Had I just done 30 hours of not doing that great, I would still be here anyway.
Absolutely, and that's why I love story-driven games, and that's why games with a solid story pull me forward, because yes, I want to level up, I want to feel more powerful. Those things make me feel good and keep me invested, but what really is driving me through this is the what happens next, and oh god, if I'm not powerful enough, that person's going to die, or I'm going to die, or...
and for a long time, I always wanted games where they were not that challenging, and after a while, I would just get strong enough to just wipe people out, but this only happened after I started playing more games with Ted. I started to appreciate games where you are the weakest thing in the world and you don't get that much stronger, and the whole game is an uphill battle, because I was like, well, that sounds terrible, and I play a bunch of those games, and most of the time I get frustrated, but every so often I'll play a game where, this happened in Metal Gear Solid 5, where, like, as soon as I start to get too powerful, the game loses all fun. Because it's no longer a struggle, and you no longer have to be creative to solve problems. You're basically just like, well, I know this will work, and I mean, I could do
You're going through the motions.
Yeah, I could do this convoluted thing to artificially create a challenge for myself, but it doesn't matter, because the challenge isn't really there. And that's not a good feeling. And
it's the American way. Why would I make this more difficult for myself?
Yeah, you can't give me the option to make it easier, because if I'm given the option, I will always take that option. It has to be forced on me that this thing is going to be hard. Unfortunately, that means that if I play 10 games, 9 of them I'm going to give up after 15 minutes. But that 10th game, I'm just like, yes, I'm all about the way this plays, and even though I'm really weak in the game, I'm still having fun. And that's Nuclear Throne is a great example of
I
that.
was just going to bring that up. It sounds like you're leaning towards some thrones that are nuclear.
That's a good game. That game also works for me because you can play it in really short bursts of time.
Right.
Yeah, I could spend 15 minutes playing Nuclear Throne, and then even if I die, I'm like, well, cool. Well, I had a good 15 minutes. It's not like a game where I spent an hour and then I died and I feel cheated because I didn't get anywhere with it, if that makes any sense.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know. That game, I almost don't care if I ever see the ending of it. And that's very different to how I approach other games.
Yeah. No, but that to me sounds like the mark of a solid game. And I played some Nuclear Throne with you.
Yeah, man.
It was entertaining.
You just feel like all the time they're throwing crazier and crazier things at you. It just gets so over the top.
The escalation is really well handled.
Yeah, because you do get better guns, and you do become more powerful, and you do start pulling off crazy moves and combos.
But you're still, like...
it doesn't take much to kill you.
A leaf in a hurricane. You're going to get torn apart.
Yeah. You think you're doing great. This has happened a few times, and then I get into a level, and I just get wrecked 3 seconds into the level, and I'm dead. And I'm like, man, that kind of hurts my ego a little bit. But at the same time, it's like, well, it wasn't unfair. Like, what happened there just happened. So, cool. I'll start over. I'll try it again. The game also, anything Vlambeer makes, I always have a good time with.
Well, what else have they done?
They did, oh my god, how am I blanking on this right now? So, Gun Gods. They made Gun Gods, which is, it looks a lot like a Doom or a Wolfenstein type of game. Oh, it's magical. It's so good.
Testosterone-fueled rampage shooter.
It's hilarious, man. You fight bears in, like, a space prison, and you gotta find this Illuminati triangle named Young Venus, and you gotta take him out. He's a character in Nuclear Throne too. Oh, they're so funny, man. Oh, they made Ridiculous Fishing, actually. I think it was like their first real game.
Big hit.
Yeah, that game, and there were a couple good articles written about them because that game got cloned like before it even came out, I think.
Really?
Yeah, and they were really kind of like devastated because they were like, man, like we don't even have a shot anymore because how is our game going to stand out? And Apple historically has not taken a very strong stance against games that are clones because their defense, from what I understand, has kind of been, well, look, it's a concept, not necessarily like trademarked intellectual property. So because
we didn't make it.
We didn't make it, and they're still selling, and we're still making our cut. So how far are we going to take enforcement of this? Which, on one hand, I understand, but it's like the game Threes, right?
Yeah.
The tile thing. But there's like a million clones of that with just different numbers or letters or symbols or whatever it is. But they're all the same game, and one game did it first, and there's a million other games that are basically cashing in on their concept. And they are still unique products that have to be developed, but like how much of that is a thing that needs to be prevented to help the people doing the concept creation succeed?
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
The mobile game market is a whole mess.
Dude, it's
business.
The Wild West all over again.
It really is.
It's a really interesting phenomenon.
Or China present day.
Yeah, right. Seriously. Yeah, it's like pure capitalism. It's a strange thing.
It really is.
But Vlambeer, man, anytime they do something, I fall in love with it all over again. Yeah, they got such a good sense of humor, and they're so good-natured about the fact that like they're not really programmers exactly. They just have good ideas, and like a bunch of their games, I think, were made with like Game Maker or similar types of programs. Like really straightforward. Like it's not so much that you need to know how to code that well. It's just that if you understand what makes a game really fun, you just emphasize those aspects and then do that instead of just saying, well, somebody didn't like this, they didn't like that, so screw them. They just don't understand what my vision is all about. Like they told a really good story at I think it was a conference. I'm trying to remember where this was, but it was basically about like what made their games cool, and they showed like how to make a game, and they told this anecdote that I've heard a few times where there was a gun in a game, and I don't remember what the game was, but they were play testing it, and testers said like, yeah, this gun feels really weak, and it was like some kind of heavy weapon, and they were like, yeah, it feels underpowered. And they took it back to the team, and they said, like, all right, so, players want the gun to feel more powerful. And they literally didn't change anything about the gun except the sound effect. They made the sound effect much more boomy, and it felt heavy, and there was like a little bit of vibration there. And they gave it back to the players, and the players were like, oh man, thanks for rebalancing that gun. It feels so much better, like it does so much more damage. And it really kind of drove home the point that like so much of how a game feels is...
There's much more to it than... a decimal point here.
Yeah.
Or, a slider that was moved a little bit this way.
Yeah, your sound, your visuals, they all have a really big effect. Vlambeer loves to throw screen shake in their things. And it's so funny. Because
absolutely.
If you take that away from some of their games, they feel a lot more... They made Luftrausers. That was the other one they did, where you're the little plane.
Yeah.
It's just, oh my god. But it's just so fun. And you can play it in like a 30-second burst and still have a blast. Or you can play it for an hour.
What that hammers home is there are so many more aspects than just what I hear so much, playing League of Legends and watching esports or even certain other games I've played.
And in League,
Call of Duty or anything where they're like, oh, we need to balance this or we need to adjust this. And that makes sense in a competitive game.
It absolutely does.
It absolutely
Call of Duty
makes
and League have something really important in common, which is the clock's running in the game for pickups, for abilities, for the way you manage your resources to be able to then deal damage. And Call of Duty is kind of interesting because you can get around some of that if you're just a very skilled player. Like I always come back to Bobby. Watching Bobby play Call of Duty is like unlike me playing Call of Duty entirely, because he can just sweep his crosshairs across like two guys and they're just dead with a sniper rifle. And
whereas
I'm just like,
yours are on the other half of the screen shooting the wall.
Yeah, I'm firing like an assault rifle. I'm like trying to like flank people and I'm still getting annihilated. I'm like, man, I really suck at Call of Duty. Like it's just I'm not playing it in a way that will succeed against other people, because you can't play it like you would fight a war. That doesn't work.
You can't. Yeah, you have to play those games in a not necessarily, and that's again, they're one of the reasons I have issues with League occasionally, and one of the reasons that certain games that'll turn me off are just like, I can't play this game the way I want to play this game. Yes,
and you have to play the game on top of the game. You got to understand how
you got to play that gameception.
Yeah, it's true, right? Like,
it really is.
You got to understand the timing of the game itself. You got to understand the balance. And like you were saying, the decimal points there really matter, because that's your advantage. That's your leg up on the other people you're playing. And if you understand those sometimes hidden systems going on in the game, you can just decimate people, and they will not understand why you're so good. And it's like, they just assume you're a cheater. Like you can.
No, it's because you generally put a crap ton of time into playing this game. So the
fundamentally...
filthy casuals like me are like, oh, this is no fun.
Exactly.
Because look at these people who just, I walk in and I die.
Exactly.
I was kind of saying the same thing about Battlefront last week.
Oh, yeah?
Where, you can already tell the people who are putting a lot of time into stuff like this, or the guys who play a lot of shooters, who have those mechanics down, it doesn't feel like there's a good window for the new guys.
No, it's a totally different approach to things. And, I remember feeling that way when I played Quake 3, like years ago. You play that game yourself, and then you go and play online, and you realize very quickly that the speed of the game is unlike anything you've ever experienced, and you have to completely readjust the way you perceive your environment and the way you gauge success. Like you're never trying to go after that guy over there. You're always like, well, that guy's going to be there, but in a few seconds he's going to be here. So I need to make sure I'm here so that I'm at this angle, and then I don't get hit by this guy over there.
At what point does a game stop becoming fun and start becoming EVE Online?
And that's a whole other, and like,
no, it's in the same.
Like when you reach a certain level of proficiency with games like that, it's the most fun you'll have. Like you just get to a whole other level, but that learning curve can sometimes be so steep that I don't ever get there.
Yeah, and
I don't
for
ever
us,
hit that
it's
plateau.
a combination of time available and interest, because you and I both apparently have shorter attention spans when it comes to this stuff.
Holy cow, yeah. I'm so bad. I just give up on stuff, and it's so bad. It helps when I've spent money on something, I tend to invest more time in it. But even that anymore, I find myself just being like, man, that really sucks. I guess I just burned like $20 there because
that's the
I don't
worst
like this
feeling.
thing. Yeah,
too. So yeah, it's become more necessary than ever to almost look into a game. Like when we were talking earlier with Star Wars about avoiding trailers and avoiding spoilers.
Yeah, with games it's the opposite.
I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I suck up every bit of information I can find because, especially with bigger games, like I looked into. I've watched every Fallout 4 thing there is out there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty darn close with Halo, except I am trying to avoid story spoilers.
Yeah.
Just because I want to make sure that these games are not, I'm going to get my 60, bucks out of this game.
Exactly.
And
it's a steep point of entry.
To that point, it's amazing what you can buy for $60. I mean, let's be realistic with the way games have gone. But you still do. You kind of need to look into all that because you're just like, this is going to take up a portion of my life, my time, my money, and
you don't want to feel like you blew it on something.
Entertainment.
Yeah,
that's the key that we need to remember.
Right.
Video games are entertainment.
Yeah, it's a luxury.
It's a luxury.
It's a luxury. It's not a necessity. It's not food. It's not clothing. It's not, living accommodations. It's Now, when you put things in perspective, you're just like, all right, so.
Yeah, but you still, it's this thing where you're like, I want to make sure I'm, not wasting my money.
Yeah, you don't want to blow it on stupid crap because you can't go around spending $500 on games and be like, well, I'm sure like $100 worth of this will stick. Like, no, that's crazy. If you did that with anything else, you would be a fool. But with games, that's just one of those things like, well, every so often you're going to spend money on a game and you're going to be incredibly disappointed. It's like, man, that's
just a crappy point to like. That's why I'm so selective in the things I play because the reality is I don't play that many games.
Yeah, like for a while, man.
You play more than I do by far, and that's not like oh look at you, you're a nerd.
No, but
that's a case of like I just don't play a whole lot. I find the games that like. I occasionally, I do all that research, and I am rarely disappointed by a game I purchase, and I am happy with that.
See, that's the thing, and I've come back around to that method of doing things. For a long time, because I was on Steam so much, I would constantly be picking up games that went on sale that I didn't know that much about.
You had the Steam problem.
Yeah, and giving them a chance, and I'd play some of these games, and I've played, I think, everything I've bought on Steam.
Oh,
and
man.
I have like 400 games on Steam. Like,
That's
it's a lot
impressive.
of games. Most of them I got for like $1 or $5 or something like that. But like I've been disappointed so many times. And then now, where I don't have a computer used for gaming, it honestly has been kind of better. I miss playing games on a PC. Only because we know so many people that play games on PC. You play games on PC. I'm missing out on that. And that part I don't like. But console games, man, I usually buy a game, like I just did with Metal Gear Solid 5, and then I'm like, I'm going to play this game for a long time. And I've already gotten way past my money's worth out of that game. And that's a game I have some complaints with.
And that's a good feeling, though, because you're like, I am enjoying this.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm not thinking about, like, a problem that I have constantly is thinking about when I'm sometimes playing a game or using something I bought for entertainment, a non-necessity in life.
Yeah.
And I'm using it, and I'm thinking, if that thought in the back of my head is going, is this really worth what I paid for it?
Yeah.
Oh no, here comes the money guilt. If that's happening,
I
am, it's disappointing. So, yeah.
And it's understandable, though, too, because a lot of times you do get that, and you feel like, man, like, this was not a wise use of my income,
or my time. And speaking of time, oh man, we've been talking for a while now, and we hope we have not wasted your time. But I've got a little puppy who's in a crate and probably needs to get some.
We gotta pet that pup.
We gotta pet the puppy.
We gotta pet the pup. He was not being so good for a little bit there.
He was not, but do our
it's
best.
okay.
So thanks for listening. I've been Isaac.
Seriously. I've been James.
And we'll try to stay a little more focused, maybe. No, we won't.
No
we're
promises.
Just going to talk about whatever the heck we
No,
want.
I'm probably going to be even more ADD. Next time we're going to talk about the Illuminati and the Freemasons. And
National Treasure Nicolas Cage.
Maybe the Shriners.